One fan who has attended my Saturday live streams for years asked me something during our Slots Enthusiast Growth Network weekly Zoom group meeting last Thursday. Um, she's been working hard exploring and learning about slots at casinos on the Las Vegas Strip. Her comment was, "I'm thinking about taking a break for a little while. Should I?" What do you think I said? We'll go over that, and of course I'll be taking your questions because this is a live stream. I'm only saying that because, of course, the people who are here li live here now know it's a live stream, but you might be watching this after the fact. Hello to you. Thank you for being here, and be sure to subscribe for notifications so you can have your questions answered the next time I do one of these. But either way, stick around, and I'm sure it will be of value to you. But if you're watching this after the fact. But those of you who are here live, thank you so much. If you have a question, use hashtag question. That's so I can be sure to spot your question to me instead of comments in the live chat to each other. After all, this is also a community video where friends check in about how their slots play has been going lately. So let me remind you of that with this little banner across the bottom of the screen, which may be very hard to read on a mobile device. But it helps me find the questions when we start going over that. So the first 20 minutes or so, this is a new time for me. This Thursday evening live stream is my 105th. But hi, Dave. But only my second live stream ever during the week. So if slots enthusiasts show up tonight, and they certainly did for my first ever Thursday live stream last week, well, we're good to have more Tuesday live streams every week. That's Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Thursdays at 3 p.m., and Saturdays at noon Eastern. I have three of these. So the first 20 minutes or so will be spent, hello, the first 20 minutes or so, I will talk about a topic as usual, and then I'll take questions for an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, the bulk of the 2 hour session. I'm making it a 2 hour session and not longer because my voice only lasts so long, and I talk for hours per day to individuals, and for podcasts, for paid consultations, free chats, all of that, and so my voice has to last. This is a new thing for me. This will be the first week I've had three 2 hour long live streams. But I've been doing Saturday live streams for about 2.5 years. So even though we may have only met tonight with because this is a Tuesday and a lot of people can't make other times, remind me to keep drinking water. And decal hashtag question, not hashtag winning. But I see your point. Okay, so should you take a break from slots? Yes. That's what I recommended to my fan that's been following my content as Professor Slots since 2018, which was a long time ago. I think 2018, late 2018, I started my YouTube channel. It was what I did last, and I should have done it first before the website, the podcast, writing the book. But I did things in reverse order, it looks like. But she's been following me since 2018 or so. And so it's, she's been following stuff, working on stuff. And she was asking me if, should she take a break? And I said, she and you work so hard. Taking a break, a vacation is good for you. I mean, let's just consider the health benefits, because the health benefits are related to being able to come back from the break and perform better at slots because of all the reasons that I'll go through. Um, and uh, uh, so number one, improved physical health. Our ordinary days, days at the casino, it can be very stress inducing, which contributes to medical issues, heart disease, high blood pressure. Taking a vacation every 2 years compared to every 6 will lessen the risk of coronary heart disease or heart attacks for both men and women. I hate to be blunt about it, but stress is a killer. And this is this can be stressful, um, and uh, uh, particularly if we win or if we lose. Uh, so and you know hashtag question and let me know which questions are. Let them build up for a few minutes as I go over each of these points. So there's not only physical health, there's also mental health and improved mental health. Chronic exposure to stress can alter your brain structure and bring on anxiety and depression. When you take a vacation, feelings of calm arise, and which relieves stress, which allows the body and mind to heal in ways that it couldn't while under pressure, while still under pressure. So that's the mind and body. Then there's also your greater well-being. There's data for this. There's a Gallup poll. So people who always take time for regular trips, whatever that means, has a 68 score on a Gallup poll and index where it's 54% score for less frequent travelers. And you know me, I just love I just love data. If I could put it on a graph, I would. But subjects' physical complaints, quality of sleep, and mood had improved 3 days after their time off compared to before vacation. And these gains were still present 5 weeks after vacation. So this improvement was especially evident to those who had more personal time and overall satisfaction during their vacation. Now, when I say vacation, I also mean staycation. I mean a change in routine. Uh, Go to your local park. With time off. It's a change in the schedule. Whatever vacation makes you happy is a vacation. Or rather, a good vacation, and overall satisfaction on your vacation is important for it to do its job. And when you come back, there's also when you take a vacation, there's also increased mental motivation. Many who return from vacation are more focused and productive. And just look at this from the point of view of being a slots player. Studies have found that chronic stress can make it difficult to achieve certain tasks and cause memory problems. Taking time off can be like getting a tune-up for the brain, improving your mental health and cognition. Um, okay. Uh, and just making sure I got to keep an eye on the live chat. Good. Thanks for the hashtag questions. I appreciate it. Then there's also increased burnout. Those who take regular time to relax are less likely to experience burnout. And I remember talking with a friend of mine to my current boss, or my boss as an aerospace engineer, and my middle boss, not my first boss, not my last boss before being laid off, but the middle boss. And we were talking about with a vendor who had come in and that I knew from my prior job, knew for a long time. And we were saying, burnout, she was saying burnout is bad. And we were saying, yeah, sure is. But there's a land beyond burnout where you can still get stuff done. And, that's just a sign of people being overworked for decades. Burnout is not a good thing. But on the other hand, I recognize that personal conditions, being able to take a vacation, even a staycation, is difficult for some people. A lot of people, I know it is for me, and I'll talk about that in a second. So, decreased burnout. Those who take regular time to relax are less likely to experience burnout, making them more creative and productive than their overworked, under-rested counterparts like me. Address your mental, physical, and spiritual needs before committing to responsibilities benefiting others outside of your immediate family. This is like the old adage about putting the oxygen mask on yourself first before the person next to you, sitting next to you on an airplane, because that's how you save the person sitting next to you on the airplane. And this is kind of a family directed point. So, and there's also taking a vacation, planning but not just taking the vacation, but planning a vacation can boost happiness. Some people experience an elevated mood up to 8 weeks before the trip. The bottom line is take a vacation if you can. When you take time away from the stresses of work and daily life, it can improve your physical and mental health, motivation, relationships, slots performance, and perspective. And I think the perspective is so important because you start to be able to see things if you take, your eyes notice something if you're step away for a little while. And a vacation can help you feel refreshed and more prepared to handle whatever comes when you return. I remember, I had, like I said, I've been having live streams, weekly live streams, pretty much weekly. I mean, there was like 2 months where I didn't have any, and then I take occasional holidays off. If it's actually Christmas Day, or Thanksgiving Day, or something like that, or I have a wedding to go to, and that's happened a few times. So in the last 2.5 years, um, the we've had well uh, you know, you can sorry, there's wildlife out in my my backyard. Okay, my dog's gonna bark if he comes around front. Okay, not taking a vacation takes its toll on your health, so please take some time if you feel you need it, about as much as you would for a day job. You're working hard, right? And you deserve taking a break. You'll feel better when you return, which in turn will likely mean doing better at slots. When was your last vacation? Yes, I understand this is a tricky question. What with the unusual, if not outright bizarre, traveling conditions we've had lately the last couple of years. If you're here live, comment in the live chat when and where you went on vacation. Otherwise, if you're watching the recording, let us know in the comments. When was my last vacation? I can imagine you're going to ask, when was my last vacation? And I had to think about it. I mean, wow, too long. I mean, I took a day off in April. Like I said, I'll go to a wedding, and my moderator's daughter had her wedding in April. I don't think that counts though, because I took like the one day off and mostly drove. Before that, let's see, I had 2 weeks off. No, let's see. 2 years ago, I got laid off as an aerospace engineer and decided to exclusively pursue my Professor Slot's business. I had it for a few years before I was laid off, and I worked on it, full time, but exclusively is when it started about 2 years ago. 2 years ago minus 2 years ago in 2 weeks. So it was my last vacation was before that. And really making me think. January 2019. At least it hasn't been 6 years. I took 3 weeks off for a staycation. In short, that's been too long for me since I took a vacation. But what about you? So that's what I have for you today. I wanted to introduce myself on a Tuesday night, see who comes. I have a few regulars here. I can see that, and a bunch of new people. So I want to start saying hello, and check the commentary. So let's see here. Oof, lots of comments. So Myrtle Beach, Decal, I forget your name, Decal 17802. I know you've told me, but I forget. And Myrtle Beach, October 2021. And sounds like fun. I was near Myrtle Beach. I was in Wilmington. And before I was laid off, but that was maybe a year beforehand. So I'll say hello and just proceed through the comments. Yeah, I thought Camilla, I thought it was a timely, uh, uh, subject as well, because we're all sort of like free maybe for a little while. We certainly did notice that for the last holiday. Um, in April, people were just going to Las Vegas. It was pretty busy. So let me just work through things. Uh, Oklahoma Freedom, thank you for. They say thank you, Professor. Enjoy your commentary always. Much love and winning, everybody. Absolutely. Um, hey, Steve, welcome. Some of the regulars are showing up. Let's see here. We have we have Decal. I think you meant hashtag question, but that's all in the past. I think they saw some comments later that someone mentioned it. Did recon, right? So I think we're basically continuing a conversation with Decal that we've had. So we talked about what to do, and so the 5 spin method, they did reconnaissance, walking around the 20 with $124 bankroll, stopped after a crazy amount of free spins on quick hit silver at MGM. Know when to fold them. 57 free spins, $186. That's great. I mean, that's what a good time is. And going for more is a mistake. Tuck it away. Or half of it, or some amount. We've had live streams about this, which are all available on my professorslots.com, youtube.com/professorslots under 2022 live streams. I've also made available again the 2021, 2020, and 2019 live streams. Although the first few are kind of embarrassing. It's just, there's something called lighting, John, and maybe you want to use a microphone. Right. So, and, congratulations on doing that. We've talked a bit about some of the details there, and we'll come back to it if you need to. Anthony, would you recommend reading your book first or to take the course first? Does it matter which you do first? Well, if you plan on taking the course, you get the book free with the course. Now, it's not the ebook that Amazon provides. I can't give that to you for free since they distribute it. And it's not the hardcover, it's not the soft cover, but it's the PDF, and which I can give to you. So that's part of the joy of self-publishing, because when you sell to a publisher, you're actually selling the content of the book, and it's not yours anymore to give away. And so you can't do any of that. But since I self-published, it's still mine. And so, if you think that you're going to take the course at all, it comes free with the course. Now, what is the book? Well, the book is Learning to Win. That's what it's called. It's available on Amazon, and for under $20 before taxes. I don't get a choice there's also an audiobook version, and so I don't get a chance to choose the amount of a couple of them, and okay. Fun is finally found a parking spot and is able to join us. Great, man. Okay, so, or rather, it's a couple people, right? So when it's called Learning to Win. It's available on Amazon. You can go read out the syllabus and read the description. I think they even allow in the ebook for you to read 30 pages or so. And basically, it's how I learned what I learned, and it's also my thought processes and writing it all down to get it all on paper to explain it to you. But it isn't being updated. So the original was written in 2015. I updated it in 2018. If you look at the first page after the cover, it'll say what the last date it was that I edited it, and I stopped because it's just impossible to keep up. And besides which, while I do explain my slot strategies um, in it, some of them, because I've come up with more sort of clarification and other things. Basically, it's what happened. I people say you have these theories. And I'm like, actually, I'm a physicist. I do know what a theory is, and it's not a theory. It's actually something I did, and it worked at casinos after casinos. And I started putting it all together as far as a plan. It was really helpful writing the book to sort of like lay it all out and see the connections and how everything worked together. And then I just gave it to you guys. But it's the story of where I learned it from, and what happened to me to make me realize that this is a way to go about it. Um, if you are new to the live stream, and you may be new to the live stream, my dog Isaac is right here. Let me see if I can show that to you. Uh, His tail is wagging. That's because over here is Emil Lenz. That's the name of a scientist, and we can talk about. I would love to tell you who it was, physicist. Then there's Hedy Lamar, and I will see her later. Nope, the dog is following her. And Hedy Lamar is the inventor of Wi-Fi, and I also believe she was a rather popular movie star. And during World War II. And then over there is Mary Curie, who was the discoverer of radiation. And I named my cats after scientists. But you can also know that I don't mean to go on about it, but people seem to enjoy the dog is the intern, always trying to be very friendly. um, okay, I was. Isaac is a golden retriever, what's called an English golden retriever, not white, but very close to being white. He's a puppy. In 2 weeks, he is turning 1 year old, and he's going to have a rather life-changing operation. Expected. And then the young boy is becoming a dog. Yep. And if he becomes available, I will say that. Yeah. So now you can see over here, Emil. Uh, and some people tell me that the show that they put on behind me, the photo bombs and all that, are better than me. I'm like, what? And Curie is the associate producer, and the two other cats. Well, they usually like argue around the internet connection. So I'm calling them. One of my other fans named them saboteurs, and I wanted to make sure I'm introducing the team. On Saturdays, I even have a moderator, Paula, but she can't join us, I think, on Tuesdays. So, but I'm keeping an eye on things at the same time I'm doing all this. Okay, so questions. um, yeah, Decal is taking the course, doing the homework slowly. It's not hard, but it is. Some of the homework, particularly early on, is to actually go to the casino. Don't take money. Go to the casino and look around like you've never looked before. And I tell you what to look for, and maybe draw a little map, and all that. I don't want to give away the free content to you, but that's the sort of thing that goes on in the course. And some of it is, it's 30 days to play slots smarter and win, but it doesn't have to take 30 days. It could take longer. It's self led, and it's all entire things available if you want to, but I recommend going it through step by step, day by day. Some people skip ahead, and I'm like, oh well. It's important to go step by step, because that's how I designed it to be learned, because some of the stuff later needs the stuff that's early on. And so yes, that's basically how it's set up. But Decal is saying doing my homework slowly. It's not hard. Your Aunt Trudy, your great Aunt Trudy, can take the course no problem. I haven't put any physics or math that hard, subtraction, division. That's it, and not much of that. Just so you can, everybody can take it, and it's not meant to be tough. But any 30-day project is something that it takes a little bit of effort, because part of what it goes over is kind of like changing how you think about stuff, and just the facts that are out there. And I point to the IRS on this, and I point to the state gaming commission on that, and we all have things that we can learn, and I had to dig out because nobody was talking about it. And yeah, so the book talks about my all where I learned what, and now I just present it in a fashion that you can see. I see comments, but I don't see question, hashtag question. So Dave has a question. Although I did love your comment, Oklahoma Freedom. I did. Okay, California. There is a lack of payback returns from tribals. Which of your strategies would you recommend? Stratagems. Sounds like you read my book. Okay, so there are more than one kind of slot machine. In fact, tribal casinos can have a game, electronic game that looks like a slot machine, but isn't a slot machine. Okay. I'm not going to get into, unless somebody asks, historic horse racing, scratch ticket, lotteries in the state of Washington, the, other machines. I'm going to talk about class 3 Vegas style slot machines and class 2 bingo style, skill-based, competition-based slot machines. So you need to know which one you're going to play. If you're in Oklahoma, it's about 45% class 2 bingo style machines and 55% class 3 Vegas style slot machines. But anywhere else, all the other 500 tribal casinos, rather, I think it's 108 worth mentioning in Oklahoma. There's a few shacks behind convenience stores, casinos that I didn't list on my website article for Oklahoma at professorslots.com/OK. You can go to professorslots.com/CA or any, the 2-letter postal designation. But if you're playing class 3 slot machines at your tribal casinos, that's everything. Now, my strategies aren't strategies. They're counter strategies. What are they countering? They are countering the casino's setup, the casino's chosen, purchased, bought and paid for setup, operating system. Okay. So if they don't have the operating system that corresponds to my strategy, then my strategy won't work. So it's really a matter of figuring out what operating system, what methods that they have about setting up their odds. It would be insane for them to have all of them, because they would counter one another. So they've chosen, and it probably, I think I saw 4 of my 10 strategies work at one casino. So you have to basically figure out which ones work, but all of them are possible depending on the casino, which casino and what their setup is for class 3 slot machines. Now, one of the things sometimes people don't know is tribal casinos they're all allowed to have class 2 bingo machines, but they're only if they have a tribal gaming compact, which has to be negotiated with the state, can take years sometimes, and sometimes it fails. Only then can they have class 3 machines. In almost every state outside of Oklahoma, they prefer to have class 3 Vegas style slots because people like them better. But in Oklahoma, the Oklahoma government, I don't mean to tell you a long story, but this is the backing behind all of it. The state of Oklahoma, the legislature, the governor, they made the fees high on class 3 machines so that the casinos would make less. And the casino said, well, we'll just go back to class 2 bingo style machines like no other state has, make it almost half of what we do, and we don't have to give you that fee. And then there was a big brouhaha, not to get into the history, but if you're from Oklahoma, you know what I'm talking about. The fight with the governor just before the pandemic. That was what the topic of many of my live streams about what's going on now. They did this, now that. It's funny, the governor was a member of the tribe once upon a time. So I guess maybe he knew what to try to do. In any case, tribal casinos outside of Oklahoma mostly have class 3 machines. Now there's tribal casinos in the state of New York, which has some of those. So my strategies work on class 3 machines. If all your tribal casino has is class 3 machines, you're golden. But you do have to figure out which ones work because of the setup that they bought and paid for. Bogey Ball 72. Yeah, the 5-spin method is says the 5-spin method is a go at all for casinos in the Philadelphia, PA area. Yep. Did you see my interview on ABC 27? It's down in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We had a nice little chat. The shortcut is professorslots.com/ABC27. And you might want to watch that 8-minute video. Yeah, that's to Dave's point. Taking a vacation, you can reduce the stress of going to the casino if you go less often. So, I don't think you meant this. I'm pretty sure you didn't mean this, but this is like going to work, only not working quite so hard so you don't have to take a vacation more often. I don't know. Somehow that struck me as funny. Right. Anthony has a question. When using the 5-spin method, whether in the high limit room or in the regular casino floor, would you make 5 max bets or 5 minimum bets? I know when we are performing that test to see if the casino does taste, you want to do minimum bets. But if you are no longer testing, would you do then 5 max bets? Actually, the same person who asked the question about whether or not she should take a vacation a couple months ago, like I said, she's working hard. She came up with this. She's analyzing Las Vegas Strip, and she pointed out that she pointed out an insight, and casinos adjust the odds, and it's a schedule. It's done well in advance, and this is so when some of my strategies about how to figure out this schedule, but she found that sometimes the return's great, sometimes it's not. She's gone through and tested, I don't know, 30, 40 casinos. She's making a list of who has the 5-spin method. They all do. But there are times when the returns are bad and times when the returns are good. I don't mean, she plays the 20 machines. I mean, for a couple of hours, she'll do the 5-spin method and it works just fine. But sometimes it doesn't. So, and this is the thing, we start with the course material, and then in my Slots Enthusiast Growth Network, we combine things and we talk about combining strategies and next steps. So I hope this makes sense to you. Use the 5-spin method, even if you know the casino gives out tastes, to assess the casino using minimum bets and just see how it's going. See how the returns are, because if they're terrible, go home. Take a lunch, go take a nap, whatever, and then come back and check at another time. And hopefully week by week, you'll be able to identify their schedule. But minimum bet 5 spin method, not to see if they have taste, but to see how the returns are right now, and leave if it's bad and stay if it's good. And then, that's when you go from minimum bets to, I don't like to say maximum bets. It's whatever you can comfortably afford to lose. That's my golden rule. I'm not telling anybody to go to high limits with their, $100 uh, because, that's just to be avoided. Yes. Kissy Cat says gambling is work and stressful. Uh, don't ignore that. We don't want to let it get the better of us. Yeah. Next question. Okay. Something happened. Okay. I'm reading some of the questions. Again, it's really helpful if you put in hashtag question. Otherwise, it's just people talking to one another. And I can't see the questions, and then it's not a good experience for everybody watching the live stream. I like to stay on point, stay on questions, and I'm buffering. Let's see. I'm going to look for a hashtag question. Okay, there it is, Mel. Thank you, Mel. If you have a question, use hashtag question in the comment. I'm planning a trip to Vegas in 2 weeks. Do you think the slots at Palms will still be loose? I heard they were hitting pretty good when they did the reopening. That is the question. I mean, I keep on coming back to the. I'm trying not to identify her. She noticed that the Palms wasn't the usual casino opening. It was someplace that had been closed first and then reopened after like a 3-year of being closed. And that was much more like what we see on ABC, at professorslots.com/ABC27, where we see, brick and mortar casinos when they, build the casino in a cornfield, and there's no other casinos near it. They have to educate the locals, and they don't want to just say, well, come and lose your money. They want to say, come and win your money. And so they talk to the investors before the casino is even built, even planned. And they say, this is what we want to do. We want to let people win for a month or a year. You can just look at the return statistics for the states that have it. There's one for Delaware that's like that. Maybe I can bring it up. I will be making videos to show some of this. It's graphs and it's charts, but it's once you just start looking at it and you go, holy, my goodness, that's it's pretty amazing what you see when you look at these things, like 25, 26 years of data. So will it still be loose? That's the question. I have been at casinos where it lasted a month. I've been at casinos where it lasted. The first year was great. The second year was pretty darn good. I won 54 hand pays at Horseshoe Cincinnati at the end of its first year, because I only started in the middle of November. So in 6 weeks, I got 54 hand pays. And I wasn't going every day, and like 3 times a week for a couple hours. And then, and I made a profit. And that's what the book is about. You can read all about it. You can see my data. You can see the charts, and pretty color charts. And the second year, I won 36 hand pays in 6.5 months, 7.5 months. And then I won a car. And that 7.5 months, was a lot slower than the 6 weeks in the first year. But I have to say, I made a profit there too. 30% of my bankroll came home as profit. And so I enjoyed that. It would have been 50%, but I was like spending money trying to figure stuff out for you guys in the future. So I shaved off 20%. Just my goal was learning, not making money, but I wanted to do, my secondary goal was making money. And I had to figure out that comps thing and all of that. So, will it still be loose? It's been less than a month. I would say you said next week, so the 17th. 1 month will be the 27th. That's when they opened, right? In April. So I think it might be okay. Now, Las Vegas is its own little beast, and if this casino went up after having closed for 3 years, and I'm making an assumption that it's the same as having been a cornfield, and Las Vegas is its own little thing, but I think this would be a great time to go and check. Yeah, you'll know pretty darn fast. I mean, you can not spend any money and learn. Just look around and watch other people and say, "Is everybody winning? Some people winning, nobody winning." And that's that, it's a shame to fly there if nobody's winning. I know that when I go to my casinos near me and I drive all that way or I go, check out one that's like 100 miles away and I get there and I'm like, oh no, immediately sometimes you're like, oh, well, maybe it'll turn up later. I'll go take a nap or something, and come back later and see if it's better situation. You can't expect to win if nobody else is. I mean, that's just hoping lightning will strike. And when you're not on a mountain, when you're not next to the tallest tree, when you're just, blue skies waiting for lightning to strike. Let's see. If you have questions, use hashtag questions. Please get into the habit of doing that. Yep. PNTD Black has a question. A $2, $5, $10 slot machine. Do you mean multi-denomination? Yep. Hit 32K jackpot at Agua Caliente, Rancho Mirage. Payline won with 10, 10, 10. It reset at 20,000K. So there's a lot you're not saying here. So the 32K jackpot was the progressive. I assume maybe the maximum progressive top jackpot. Payline reset to 20, or that jackpot reset to $20,000, and so that it doesn't drop below $20,000 for usually it. Well, yeah, so it doesn't drop. That's the number at which it climbs from, and then this jackpot was at 32K, and if you want to wait, I have an article on being a progressive jackpot winner, and you need certain conditions and you need certain knowledge. So if you watch that jackpot and see when somebody wins the next couple of times the top jackpot, and if it's 31, 33, and this 32, that means that don't waste your time on it until it gets to at least 30,000, and then choose to play it. Now, the earlier you play it before that must pay by jackpot, and it does have to be that type of progressive slot machine. And this is, specialists look into this, right? Once you have that number, once you have whatever it is, and I'm not saying 32. 32 could have been, might go as high as 60. You're looking to find out when it must hit by. And so you have to watch for a couple of jackpots, and then, whatever the highest win was is when you wait for it to get that high, and then spend money playing it. Now, if it's if you let's say it ends up being 32K, right? It does that a couple of times. Let's say, well, if you started playing it at 30,000. And some of the money that you put in goes to that progressive jackpot. The money that is put in is distributed amongst all the progressive jackpots, not just the top one, although it may get more of the money that you put in. That can really be costly. You might spend $32,000 to win $32,000. You might spend $20,000 to win $32,000. But if you let it wait until the jackpot's at 31, knowing that 32 would be the jackpot, you see what I mean? Then you will make a lot more money if you win it, but you risk it paying out to somebody else. So you have to be a combination of aggressive. You have to be a combination of patient, and you have to be a bit of a, how much do I risk here? What's my risk that I want to achieve? That's okay by me. Uh, and, and that's kind of it. There's a lot to your question. You might want to, if you haven't seen it, look at my progressive slots strategy, progressive jackpot strategy. Hashtag question mark, please. Everybody, that is how I can tell it's a question directed at me. There's a lot of conversation going on, but hashtag question. Let's see. Regarding the quick hit slots, are the mechanical reel slots the same odds as the new digital reels? Yes. Some people seem to think that the older physical reel slots are a different system than the video slots. I mean, just in general, they were originally, the physical reel slots had internal electronics that was the part that deals with what the odds are, and all that was basically, I want to give you the impression that they went in and they scraped that all out. Okay, they left the motors, they left the cable connectors to the motors to drive the motors to wherever they're told to go, but the electronics was duplicated from the video slot machines. Now, the video slot machines don't have motors, but they have this whole, large television monitor and the electronics that drives that. So that's unique to video slots, and the motor and the reel mechanics are unique to the reel slots, but the portion of the board that controls each of those is now identical. They updated the physical reel systems. Now, how do I know this? Because casinos can't have two systems. They have to meet their financial goals, and it all has to be on the same accounting system. And you can't just wing that. It all has to be on the same system. Are we good? No. Isaac chewing on a bone. I was wondering where that clicking sound was coming from. Okay, so questions. Hey, Decal, nice, well done. Just so I'm clear, Ohio calls their slots hashtag MGM and Jack Casino LVLTs. These are class 3 machines, right? Yes. The entire, all of the machines in Ohio at the casinos and the racetracks with slot machines are class 3 machines. This is, I produced a video recently where I said, states are weird. Every state is different. People say, well, I'm in Canada and I'm in, British Columbia, and our slots are different. And I'm like, just like every other state, every state is different. Every province is different. If you're in Australia, people say, well, we're very different. And I'm like, compared to what? People seem to think that the slot system in Nevada is what every state's had. I'm sorry, Ohio. And, how do I put this in a way that's easy to understand? There are 3 words, which are 3 phrases, which are in a federal law that define on a federal level, a national level, what they mean. Class 1, Class 2, Class 3. Class 1, tribal ceremonies. Class 2, competition machines. Might be bingo. Some states say it might be poker, video poker. But it is competition-based gaming. And class 3, legally, it's everything else. They don't say what it is, they say what it isn't. It is everything else. Okay. So, and that's it. Kansas, until very recently, still they started getting HHR machines, historic horse racing machines, which are getting to be very popular and spreading over the United States, because those are based on parimutuel horse racing rules. You don't need to have, Kentucky has those, and they prohibit slot machines, but those are based on horse races, so it's okay. And so, if you go to Nebraska, they will say gambling is prohibited here, but poker isn't gambling according to the state, and so you can do it. And it's just like every other state calls poker gambling. So every state is very, very different. Ohio has four uh, 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 4 casino resorts and 7 racetracks that have slot machines. Not table games, but slot machines. Just to be clear. Let's see. Somehow this is speeding up on me. Okay, good. Let's see. Right, back to that. And okay, so I don't see any more comments, and we still have over an hour to go. I guess I'll just chat a bit about some of the comments here, and see if you actually come up with more questions that you want answered. Yeah, so there's several things. So many people can't take a vacation, and so many people have not been able to take one because of the travel restrictions or because of et ceteras. Hey, Jojo, nice to see you. I'm glad that this time works out for you. Oh, 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 oh. I have a hashtag question. Right. So Insam.tv has a question. I see you have consultations. Would you do a live session, say over FaceTime, while I sit at my casino and play? If you can get away with it with the casino, it's actually a Zoom meeting, so you have to have the Zoom app on your iPhone. But that's, you can hold it wherever you want to, but it's only an hour long unless you want to pay for multiple ones in a row. I prefer to have questions that you would ask in advance, and then I could answer them specifically. It might not be cost effective, or are you kidding? Because I'm sorry, I take every question like very seriously. I'm a kind of a black and white guy, so maybe you're saying that. And hashtag question if you're going to ask me a question. Thank you. Slot Savvy Pack Park says, question: Is tribal casinos, are tribal casinos easier to win at slots? If you're not in Oklahoma, I'm sorry, I've been having a consultations and chats with people in Oklahoma, and it's on my mind. And they're the ones that have to deal with Class 3 machines. Also been talking a lot with people in the state of Washington, where they have to deal with electronic scratch ticket lottery slot machines, Class 3. And so I want to make sure that I understand, as long as you're not in the state of Washington or in Oklahoma, I think it'll be less confusing. That easier. First off, there's no real proof. There are a few tribal casinos that provide return statistics. Those in Connecticut come to mind, and it doesn't seem to be obviously so. It's about the same. It's all a bit of finding out how the casino set up, and then taking advantage of whichever one that is. Yeah, it's kind of like a moving battle sometimes, because they'll change. Okay, so Slot Savvy Park. It's like what I was saying about Oklahoma. In the state of Washington, thank you for pointing out that you're in Washington. Um, uh, if you are, and I'll put that in so people can see it. Right. So I just put out a strategy for the scratch ticket lottery, tribal lottery system in the state of Washington and how to win on them. You should be able to find it, no problem. It was only like a week or so ago, and Washington slots. Go look for that. And again, like I was saying for Oklahoma, you need to know whether it's a class 2 bingo machine or a class 3 slot machine based on scratch tickets. There are no class 3 slot machines in the state of Washington which are not based on scratch tickets, and I go through all of that, and I'll go through it here if that's a um, something that we have time for, or it's of interest to you. I tried to make what was it, 4 8-minute video. I'm trying to make them short to save people on time. Yeah. I'm taking this seriously too. Um, what do you mean by unless you are in Washington, Oregon, regarding the question about tribal casinos and slots? Um, the strategies that work depend on the type of slot machine that's in place. I shouldn't have said slot machine, gaming machine, because Vegas style slot machines are slot machines because they're class 3 machines, and only class 3 machines are slot machines. The rest of them are gaming machines. So HHR machines, bingo style games, competition, skill based, even video poker is, has to be understood. So class 2 is a skill based game. Let's say it's bingo, and Oklahoma has a lot of those. Washington has a lot of those. Why? Because the other type of game, the class 3 game, they only have a certain number of them for economic reasons. And so you need to know which one. I mean, if you're driving an automatic or a manual transmission, you need to know which one it is in order to be able to drive the car well. And so that's what I mean. The type of machine matters because the rules change and how you choose to win. Again, taking the course helps in this way, understanding that it's not luck. Lots of people complain and say it's fully luck based, and I'm like, what do you mean by fully? It is. There are odds, and those odds are adjustable, and casinos can adjust them, and they have financial reasons to do that. And so, if you don't know if you don't know the machine that you're playing, how can you know how to win, how to beat it? That's what I'm saying. If you're just going to be like choose a random machine and at a random time and just close your eyes, spin in a circle, and touch that machine that ends up being in front of you, you're the one that's random, not the casino, not the slot machine. If you randomly choose which slot machine you play, then you get a random result. But if you understand which slot machine you're playing and understand the differences, it's like being hit by lightning. You could walk out into your yard, it's a perfectly blue sky, and you could be hit by lightning, I suppose. And, history of the world, it might have happened. But if you climb a mountain or stand next to your tallest tree during a thunderstorm, well, either way, you were struck by lightning. But the second time, you kind of made it happen. Standing next to a tall tree, climbing up top on a mountain during a thunderstorm, you're changing the randomness to your favor if getting struck by lightning is to your favor. Okay. Did I answer that already? Thank you, Jojo, for reminding people. I now have and I put it in the wrong spot. I will move slightly so that over my shoulder, you can see I have a like pillow. And Kissy Cat. What about progressive games that are all linked together, like Wheel of Fortune? Um, okay. Be very careful about all linked together. They're not all linked together. For one thing, some slot machines, progressive slot machines, are in larger and smaller networks, and some are that machine alone. Also, only the progressive jackpots on that machine are linked, not the line hits, not even some of the minis and minors, because they never change. $10, $50, they don't, it's 50.00, period 100, it never changes. So while they call them mini and minors, it's not a progressive jackpot. And so that's not linked. So consider these partially linked, if at all. And how do you know if it's linked? Well, the more, how do you know if it's in a network? The bigger the top jackpot, the more machines in the network. So if it's a very low number, it might be the machine next to it or on the other side from it, or a couple machines. But if you find the lowest progressive jackpot and then you sit at it and don't play it and the number doesn't go up and the rest of the machines are being used, that's how you can tell. So that's part of what I talk about in the progressive jackpots winning strategy is know your network. Know the network on which you are playing. Like, for instance, it could be all the games in a carousel. And if all the people playing on the carousel are making minimum bets, let's say there's 5 positions, six positions, and they're all making minimum bets, and you make maximum bet, which is 5 times more than minimum bets, then you have half the chance of winning. And they altogether have half a chance of winning that progressive jackpot because you're making maximum bets. And okay, so I'm skipping everything that doesn't. And I try to read other stuff, but I'm skipping everything that says hashtag doesn't say hashtag question because we got plenty of questions. Good. Are holidays a bad time or a good or bad time for gambling? Don't mean to be subtle. Is it a big day for the casino? Have they invited you to go to the casino on that holiday? Because don't go when they invite you. I mean, you can go when they invite you and just don't play slots. If there's an event or something else, good for you. Go, have a good time. But if they want you to come and play slots, I very, very suspect of any such thing. They've, prepared for months for that holiday, and then they invite you. Yeah, the winning is going to be rare and far between, unless it isn't, and mostly it just isn't. Uh, uh, um, it's just mostly it's just going to be rare to find a hit. I've won during a major event, holiday or promotion, but it was kind of a luck-based win, and it was a new setup. The casino was new, and they just pretty much letting everybody win. So, I won on a day that I went in, and I was like, wow, that's pretty unusual. I mean, 90 hand pays in 9 months, and then a car, and I'm just like, this is unusual. This one hand pay was unusual. It wasn't part of the plan at all. Uh, right. So, but my strategy for holidays, my strategies for promotions was actually a major event. I talked about this on Saturday because Saturday was Derby Day, and casinos are notoriously busy on Derby Day. And we didn't have crowds at the Kentucky Derby last year, and then the year before it was actually delayed something like 6 months. It was in September instead of May. In any case, the morning after from 4 to 6 a.m., anytime in that range is when I've won my largest hand pay, $27,000 on a $10 two credit machine, and making a $20 bet on a $10 denomination machine. And I won $27,000 at 5, 10, a.m. That's in the book. And what 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 really solidified it for me was the person who won right behind me. Like, they just finished servicing her hand pay, which was over $10,000 because there was it wasn't serviced by two slot attendants. It was serviced by one slot attendant and the floor manager. They only do that when it was over $10,000. I didn't see how much it was, and they just finished up and walked by me, and I hit $27,000. And I remember swearing, and I felt bad about that, but I was like, somebody pinch me. Yeah. So holidays are good to recognize. Go if you want to have a fun time, I suppose. Playing slots might not be part of that, but the next morning is something that you can check very carefully to see if your casino setup has that system where you can win due to it's a accounting practice that they have that makes life a whole lot easier. Watch the video to get the full explanation. Makes their life easier. Um, okay, so yes, okay. Um, did you want to know the name? Uh, it was like 2 weeks ago, and I will go do your internet search for you. Um, pardon me while I dig through my past catalog to look for. I missed it. Washington. Let's see. Nope, I'm not seeing it in front of me. I use. You can search for it. Just look, type Washington on under search on my page. There it is. Okay, Washington. Spelled it correctly. This is, yeah. So I have a live Q&A, and then I just, oh, my apologies. I haven't made the video yet, I think. Okay, so yeah, this is putting everybody on hold. I apologize deeply, but I want to answer this question about Washington slots. If you go to professorslots.com and you look at one of the recent articles, it would be a strategic plan to win on Washington's unique slots. And if you type in professorslots.com/unique slots, I'll drop it into the live chat. That's what you're looking for. So now, before I drop it into the live chat, be very aware that if you click on it, you'll be kicked out of the live chat. You want to make sure that you aren't kicked out. And but that is the article. Yes, I have. Thank you. It's queued up for me to make that video, but I haven't yet made that video. My apologies for thinking I had already done it. Did I miss one? There, I think. So question: on a gift giveaway day or a drawing day, do the casinos tighten up the slots payouts? Only. That's the whole point. The whole point is for them to make money on those days, and more money. And so if they don't tighten the slots, then they hope to have a larger number of people to make money. But they usually are tempted into making them tighter. There's no reason to make them looser. But if you go the next morning, if they have the accounting practice that I was telling you about, then they are loose. Okay. If you go on a gift giveaway day, a drawing day, if there's a crowd and you need to have the crowd, then there's no reason for them to make everything loose. That would be counterproductive. There's no logical reason for them to do that. So it's going to be either a losing night or it's not going to be any worse than any other day. Neither is what you want. Neither is a strategy. Okay. Lots of questions about Washington and Oklahoma. Okay. Question. All the game. So I have paid consultations for the people that have unusual stuff. I write articles. I write videos. I write record videos. I record podcast episodes on topics which I try to choose that reach and benefit the most number of people. And there's so many things to talk about. Okay, just look at the questions. We're already like almost an hour into questions, 50 minutes into straight questions. And so, there's paid consultations to start taking, answering the questions which only affect you potentially. Your specific problems, your issues, the things you want to deal with, your personal plan. I don't care what your plan is. I care that you have a plan. That sort of approach, I can help you, but it's also taking my time away from helping tens of thousands. And so I charge more for that. I charge a little bit more for that, for more than anything else that I do. Right now, it's $147 for an hour consultation, and that's to address your questions. If you can come here and ask, but it's not the same as asking an hour, having an hour conversation about building you an action plan. Okay. Hashtag question. All the games near me, Oklahoma, are bingo. Would your course help me? Well, a lot of people think that my course and my topics are only strategies, and they're not. Bankroll money management, if you win, how do you preserve your gains? How do you have loss limits on bad days? Do you ever go to another state? Do you ever go to Las Vegas? Those are primarily what my course is about. Now, the strategies, in Oklahoma, what I want to do, it's just not nearby. It's like 9-hour drive away, or if I fly, and I want to spend 3 days there. And as soon as I'm using my savings to survive right now. As soon as I start making a profit, and I will have travel funds, and I'll be able to stay in 3 different hotels and go to 3 different casinos. And I've been, looking at how you can win. There is a way to win at Oklahoma slots. There's a way to win at the state of Washington electronic scratch ticket games, but I was able to figure that out from a distance. And so, yes, it will be included as soon as I can get to that state. And if you buy the course, you always have access for my lifetime, your lifetime, my business's lifetime, whichever ends first. um, and so, that is what is there. I will get to Oklahoma and be specific about them, but I also need to get to HHR machines, and I need to do other things as those spread, just to help the people in Oklahoma like I've helped the people in the state of Washington. That was like 6 days ago that I published that article. The strategy for class, I was just talking to somebody 2 days ago on a consultation. The strategy for class 2 bingo style games in Oklahoma is to realize that you are all playing the same game. You're all playing near you the same bingo game. So is it close to being wrapping up, or is it just beginning? And you can look at the patterns to see if it's on the bingo card that's available on the machine, and they're all identical in the area near you, and see if it's wrapping up, and see if it's wrapping up in a way that there's a big winner. There's ways where it's just like, somebody's going to win something, I guess, and there's others like, it's going to be a hit where one person is, we might win. And so if you look around, you can see where you're at in the bingo game. And if it's an advantageous game that's wrapping up, getting close to the end, well, those choices are the choices you make. This is not enough for an article. It's not enough for a video, but that's my lead in into explaining all this eventually. Thank you to the individual, I don't think he's here, who had that conversation with me a few days ago. Trying to gain some, he says he would be happy to meet with me when I go. What is my question about online casinos? Caesars now has live online slots play for real money. Yes and no. Yes, they do. No, they don't. It is a state law, and most states don't have it. Caesars has had it since, when was it? 96, right? 1996. But it was only good if you were geolocated by your phone within the state of New Jersey or Nevada or, what was it, New Hampshire? Illinois was too late in getting in their request for a license, and they didn't meet the deadline. I think there was like one more state I'm forgetting. And otherwise, if they came out with online casinos in your state lately, then you have access. But if you don't, you don't. If it's illegal, you can have, there's a really interesting story in Kentucky. This was about 5 years ago. There was illegal gambling, illegal online slots, and people online gambling, and people and residents of Kentucky were losing their money to online gambling. This was, outside of the country, international organization that owned this site was not within Kentucky. And so there was a legal argument made, and a judge came down with a decision to sue, to insist, whatever the legal terms are, that this company give back everything that it took from Kentucky residents. That's not the interesting part. The judge said you have to give it back to the state of Kentucky, not the people who lost it. Coup for him. So the state had a bit of a windfall that year when that came through. I thought that was great. Hashtag, can you name a casino? I don't care. You can name it. I'm the one that has to be careful. Right. Absolutely. I apologize. Inso.tv. I had thought it was a video, but I hadn't yet done it. It's still in process. So there's only an article, which is all the same information. The video will have pictures and diagrams. It will have me saying it in 3 minutes, and you might have to read it instead. I apologize. You have to go to my website. Yep. Thank you. Now I see you. Forgive me. Okay. So Steve, my voice is like, woof. We'll see how much longer it lasts. Mowed my lawn yesterday, so my throat's a little bit wonky. Hashtag questions. Players card, besides getting comps, can the casino monitor, or should I say regulate, the slot machine you're playing on in any way? I've seen here's some talk about Players Club being monitored. Well, certainly they are recording how much you're spending. There is videos out there, not by me, that talk about how it's a completely different system, and there's other people that talk about it's completely illegal if they were to use that in any way. I have had videos on this, and I don't go that route. I don't say it's illegal, because people say, yeah, but and I don't say it's two electrical systems not wired together, and people say, "Yeah, yeah, I know." So I say a third. I take a third approach. I say, "I don't understand your question. If they're trying to change the odds, I assume you think they're doing what? Are they improving the odds? Are they lowering the odds?" Usually everybody says they're lowering the odds, but I say they can't. I mean, they don't want to. I mean, they don't know what they should do. It isn't until 4 hours minimum after that moment you're playing, 4 hours later, they'll actually know what to do. They have to, like, count the chips and record the money and do their analysis. It takes 4 hours to do it. They can't, you're long gone by then. So they don't know what they need to do because people seem to think that, well, they'll just naturally just lower the odds. And I'm like, they got legal limits. They don't want to take too much money from people because they have their own rules for that. In fact, they try to stay above anything that the state says you must stay above. It's like, well, we would never drop that low because, that's actually suicide. And, people would riot, I hope not actually riot, but people who saw a 75% or in Nevada, 85%, Pennsylvania would be like up in arms. 93% is the average return on a slot machine in Nevada. There's 19 states that offer return statistics. So far, I've gone through a bunch of them, but so far, Indiana is the lowest, and their average is 90%. All right. And I've tried to tell the people this before. A 2.5% win percent change increase is worthy of a backflip. And I don't care if you can do a backflip or not. You're going to want to do a backflip for 2.5%. That's what 2.5% means. And so the nation is ranging between 90% and 93%. And that's a meaningful change. If you ever went to a casino that was doing 93%, you'd be like, woohoo, when it was doing 90%. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about the legal requirements. I'm not going to talk about, how does one system access another system when they're two different systems. I'm going to say the casino doesn't know what to do and won't know what to do for 4 hours. This is called real-time analysis, and real-time analysis doesn't exist. You can read the financial reports, which are required to be honest and easy to read. And I saw one year they said real-time analysis, and the next year they took it out. Yeah, they got pinged for that. It's not real time if it's 4 hours later. Hi, Jenny. Question. Jake's 58 Casino, Long Island, New York, is now owned by OTB. Any thoughts? Off-track betting is OTB, and I've never heard of that name. That's a type of betting. But maybe it is a company name. I don't know all of them, particularly the smaller ones. So it changed ownership. May I ask how you know? If they just put up the sign, then that actually happened 6 months ago, and it's all over. I was at Caesars Horseshoe Cincinnati getting hand pays, and the casino gave me a hand pay, like it'd been a week or whatever, a few days, and I saw, I don't know why I noticed, but I saw the name was different on the W2G. So I was the first to know. I mean, there might have been the people winning hand pays the day before that, but I knew the ownership had changed because the name changed on the tax form. They have to tell the IRS. They announced it. I mean, there might have been in some financial journal somewhere, but they announced it locally on the news like 6 months later. And 6 months later after that, the signs came in that they ordered. because they wanted to put up the new signs, and so everything's delayed except certain things. So it's important to know when the switch was, because um, there's no good news. If it was a new owner, the new owner wants to get paid. That's why they made the purchase. This is complemented by the people who sold to the new owner inflated the numbers because they wanted to be able to say, look at all these people that come to our casinos. Wouldn't you like to own that? And they did that by lowering the odds a little bit, 3%, 2%. And that's all it took for them to make themselves attractive to a new buyer. And they did. And every time the new buyer says, great, cut the odds because now we're going to get paid. And it doesn't have to be when the sign goes up 6 months earlier when the actual purchase took place. If you're 6 months later, that's actually better because, it's, if it just happened, actually just happened, you're going to want to stay away for a while, or at least be very conservative about your gambling, because they want to get paid back. But eventually they get, they push too hard, and then they start losing all those customers that they got when they purchased it, and they're just like, whoa, 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 and they have to go back. So Jojo has a question. Michigan has access to online casinos for a while now, as well as the Michigan lottery games on their own. Uh, Two different things. The lottery games, the Ohio lottery games became available as machines fairly recently. They're not advertising it very much, but they're out there. And these are not illegal machines like had been done about 7-8 years ago, and then were shut down by the state police. So yes, and is it? I would take your word for it that online casinos are available now, but there's a difference between online betting and online casinos, sports betting, I mean. And I would just want to make sure of the distinction. I think online gambling, that's not sports betting. I think that's available, but all the posters, I'm from Michigan. I visited fairly recently, and all the billboards say sports betting, but that doesn't mean, I haven't checked, and I haven't gone and tried to get an account, partly because I have to do it while going to my friend's wedding, my friend's daughter's wedding. And it's like, no, that's one less thing I'll do. Gary, I am going to assume that you didn't put the hashtag question, or are you asking somebody else? I tip $20, and then to each slot attendant. If it's under $10,000 jackpot, got more than a few, I'm happy to say. Over $10,000, when it's over $10,000, I will give $100 to the one slot attendant, and this, but I can't give $100 to the floor manager, who has to be there instead of another slot attendant for over $10,000 or more, at least in Ohio. And so I do ask him if there's a tip jar that he could stuff the $100 bill in. But I do try to give out $200 bills then instead of two $20 bills. Why? Because I have a 20, or can easily get a 20. I mean, if if it comes out to be some percentage, then it's like, well, $15.12. Anybody got 2 pennies? I'm busy. I just won $20. If I don't, if I only have hundreds, and I ask the slot attendant to break the hundreds, and I kind of like that, because break 100, give me 20s, and I hand the $20 bill back to her, and now she realizes why I asked for change. Okay, that's what I do. Robe, because you're such a good friend, I will ignore that you did not say hashtag question, but please use that. I know for 2.5 years, I haven't asked for people to use that, and so people are not into the habit, but it is something that with more and more people showing up, it is what is necessary for me to be able to see who's talking to me and see who's talking to each other, because you're all talking to each other. And I appreciate that. I'm glad that you're here for the community event. Okay. How about just playing when the slots start paying, that should take the guessing out of the game. The high limit area should be a real good start. Uh, High limit areas are people who have the money to play there, first off. But you can't, but to your point, you can walk in and you can, well, if they'll let you, stand to the side, sit down, check your phone, and just listen for hand pays. Because a high limit room is where you would expect hand pays. And if there aren't any, and it's got a bunch of people in it, what the heck is going on? And this is my strategy 8, the casino environment. Observe your environment. If nobody's winning, why would you expect to? If everybody's winning, you've got a chance. Tammy asks, what is your thought on Yamava? Thank you for putting the little asterisk in at the end of the A. That is, I noticed that, and I'm like, that's not an accent. That's something that I can't find a definition on Google, but somebody told me the phonetic pronunciation, Yamava. And so I'm just going with that. I play all the time. Do not see hand pays very often. I'm confused on the difference of playing 1 cent versus 5 cent, etc. I have a donation that just came in. Thank you so much, Robe. And it's a super chat. And thanks for being you. I appreciate it. And thank you for your donation. It is very welcome. I'm on my way to Oklahoma. It's about half a tank of gas, a little bit less. So thank you. Appreciate it. And the question from Tammy was, play all the time, do not see hand pays very often. I'm confused on the difference of playing 1 cent versus 5 cent. Okay, the basic idea here is that there are 6 U.S. states that provide return statistics, what's called win percentage, based on slot machine denomination. There are a total of 19 states that provide returns that would be just for the casino for that month. But there are 6 that provide that monthly casino return, but also by denomination. So whatever denominations they have. And it turns out that at all 6 of those states, each month, for each casino or region, Mississippi uses regions instead of casinos, and some other states do that as well. But the point here is that every one of them, except 1 month last year in Colorado, in Clearwater, no, is it Clearwater? No, Cripple Creek. It was Cripple Creek that had the penny slots not being the worst slots that 1 month last year. But otherwise, all these different months, all these different casinos, all the states that provide slot machine denominations said penny slots are the worst. The worst. And so maybe your state doesn't have that. Maybe your state, California doesn't have return statistics, but when all the other ones say penny slots are by far the worst slot machines to play, you can bet your state has that too. Anything else has better odds. Now, that's the 1 cent, and that's where that comes from. Now, the 5 cent, well, if you go to Nevada returns, it's not quite as strong, but this is the rumor that sort of use this. If you go to Nevada, I did my video on Nevada, and the Nevada returns in February showed they have, by slot machine denomination, the best odds were on 5 cent machines for the month of February. Now, in their return statistics, and I have a video that's clear about all of this, they also show the 3-month average and the 12-month average. It was the best for the last 3 months as well, and the best on average for the last 12 months. So for the last year, 5 cents was the best odds to play in Nevada. And then people have taken that to be kind of like every state all the time, except once, maybe, penny slots being the worst. And I'm, play 5 cent machines. That's not as, much proof as I would like. as penny machines are, to have that 1 month happen like that, or maybe even a few months like that in Las Vegas. But anything's better than penny. One, two, 5 cents has got this reputation attached to it. May or may not be true, but it certainly is better than penny slots. So there you go. Question: does the casino lose money when people win in the high limit area? So executives at casinos have told me this: we wouldn't have built a parking structure with areas for the high tier players to park in. Parking structures cost a pretty penny. We wouldn't have built that if we lost money on them. That's one thing, direct from a casino executive, secondhand from what I was told by a casino executive. Second, and he said it like he said it a million times. Second, they get their money back. Let's say somebody won Powerball, or not Powerball, Megabucks, or $300,000 or $1 million, and you see it in all the news reports. You know how many people see that and come into the casino and want to play that machine? They make their money back. The casino makes their money back by advertising a big, big, big win. And who wouldn't? It builds up. It's they mitigate that. So they do everything they can to make their money back from those people, including nothing to have to do with them. Except, can we please have your photo? And we'll make you famous. Although they might not actually say that. We'd like to have, for advertisements, we would like to, promotional purposes, we'd like to have your photo. Would that be okay? Would you just sign here? Thank you very much. And then you're on the Las Vegas Sun and people are hunting you down. Well, maybe not hunting you down. I get a little paranoid sometimes when I hear about, we just sign here. Just sign it. No, you don't need to talk to a lawyer. Just sign here. Okay. Slot. Question: what do you think about MaxBet TV and the controversy around it? Do you know anything about this business? I don't know that term, MaxBet T space V. So could you put it in context? What are you talking about? Is it a person? Is it a channel? Is it a machine? And if you're not going to tell me, I'll just look it up. Instagram. MaxBet TV is the first 24/7 streaming on-demand TV network dedicated to covering all forms of casino gaming content. All forms of casino gaming content. I still don't know what is it? What does it mean? Content creators worldwide can stream or post using the platform, which is available on mobile devices, blah, 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 blah. I see. Wow, that's interesting. Maximum bet refers to the, okay, yeah. Okay, so this is like YouTube having a channel. Yeah, maybe it's a competitor to YouTube. There are channels on YouTube, slots channels, not mine, not yet, and never, the only thing that I will do, it's more like I'm doing all the things that everybody else is not doing. Almost everybody else. There's a few people coming out with educational slots videos, but this is where you can play online slots, record it, and post it, and they might even do live events. So you're not gambling, you're not spending money. Instead, you're watching somebody, and that's completely different. You're spending money means state regulations have to approve online gambling, blah, 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 blah. And so this is just a slots channel that's not on YouTube. And it's more about online so more people can do it. What's the controversy? I don't see the controversy. Maybe it's not looking deep enough into this. So let's see. I don't know what the controversy is around it. Jojo says, I mean, it seems like it's like YouTube having something called Shorts. If you know what that is, there's a Shorts shelf, and they did that to try to compete with TikTok, and they blew TikTok out of the water because they can offer more services and features and all these different things, including how much money you make. If you were to put a short on YouTube and you put a short on TikTok, which is 15 to 1 minute or so, depending on which channel you're using, you will make 1/50th, 1/50 of on TikTok than you would on YouTube. And that just got worse from there. So YouTube beat up TikTok and stole its lunch by far. Okay. Jojo says, let me take a sip. Okay. Hashtag question. Casinos such as MGM, Firekeepers, FanDuel, that's the new one, and more have slots, roulettes, table games, a lot of the same slots across the board with few exceptions. Relentless commercials at first. Yeah. 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 These are tribal casinos, or rather, Firekeepers is a tribal casinos. MGM, if you're talking about the one in Detroit, is a commercial casino, and I'm not in FanDuel. I think that's Missouri, right? So if it's a tribal casino, it must have a compact in order to be able to offer Class 3 games and table games and roulette table games, poker, all that. But they could offer and slots, but they could offer Class 2 bingo style machines that look a lot like slots without a gaming compact. So yeah. The same slots is because there aren't actually that many, and there's the popular ones. And Jojo has another question because the rest of you, well, there's a few questions. Good. I just anticipated. Oh yeah, Jojo. Sure, yeah. That's all online if they can be online. It is certainly a thing that's coming. Sure. My next podcast episode, which is a video that just plays the audio on YouTube, that's coming out on Saturday, and the gentleman is an online slots player. I'm trying to I don't want to get into online slots too much because it's important to stay focused. But with this surge, eventually, I will take it on. But I just want to feed a little bit to people for now. Right. So, have you ever played at Belterra Casino or Rising Sun? Oh, you mean Belterra Resort? Because 2 days ago I was at Belterra Park and Rising Star. I've been to Rising Star, but not recently. Belterra Resort, it's been a little bit longer for that one. I haven't tried my 5-spin method at those casinos. I've been trying to go local, but I've been kind of doing like Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, Indiana, and going back and forth. Yeah. Slot says question, so and so of the so and so is very against it. Max Bet TV, of course he is. He's going to lose money. Yeah. That individual yelled at me, wrote all caps, a long abusive comment on YouTube, and it wasn't appreciated. Oh, why would any slots? Yeah. Absolutely, you got it. Money. Also, lack of confidence. People that get that angry, like, I mean, the reason I think he was so abusive to me was, because I'm taking his audience, he thinks. You know, it's, uh, it's a big compliment that he would think that. It means, he doesn't seem to realize this. Yeah, thank you. Uh, it, um, he doesn't seem to realize that this would, actually promote the channel because he's talking about it with his audience, and they're naturally going to go check it out. So he's causing the problem that he's worried about. It's like, have you ever noticed this? When people insult you, they say the worst thing they can imagine ever being told themselves. It's and I've had people do that to me, and I'm just like, I'm really not interested in learning your deep, darkest secrets. If you would just like not burden me with your trauma, I would appreciate it. Because they're tr- they have this concern in their life, and so they said it to me, and I'm just like, you don't know me, and how do I put this? Swing and a miss. Does that make sense? And you know it's just wearing their heart on their sleeve. If you get something from them, whatever, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to reduce his membership. Man, would he get mad at that? But that's, uh, you know, it's personal, how and he's worried, and, maybe he needs a vacation because stress is a killer. See how that tied in? Okay. Um, okay. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. I am not saying don't watch him. I am not saying, uh, you know, whatever he says. I'm not coming out against him. I am saying, uh, what he did to me, and take what you will from that. I'm not saying the same thing to him. I'm not trying to abuse him like he abused me. No way, no how, because I don't do that. Okay, let's talk about something else so I can sleep tonight. Doom, 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 doom. Okay. Uh, yeah. We all wish everybody success. Let's see here. And do you have a question? This is your opportunity. There is a question. I'm waiting for that to come up. And there it is. Okay. Is it a good idea to pull out our rewards card after we win a huge jackpot? No, makes no difference. Makes no difference. It's all over with. Um, it's all over with. It's done. Whatever happened is recorded. No, it doesn't make any difference. They didn't like wait a minute and then record it. Yes, I apologize for my remarks. The slots channels are feeling the burn, feeling the heat, and they're reacting to it. It's too bad. Let's see. Question. By the way, the individual that I was talking about did this like a year and a half ago. So this predates anything that might be occurring now. I assume you mean penny slots with low odds are not the same as a machine marked 1 cent with a minimum bet of 45 cents. No, anything that has a 1 penny denomination, no matter how much you bet up into, I've seen as high as $9, that's a penny machine. If it says 1 cent and you make 900 credit bets, it's the denomination of the machine. Now, there's a question in some states as to whether a multi-denomination machine that includes 1 cent as a option would be to get their return, that return recorded in the 1 cent entry. But some of these states have multi-denomination as an entry, and it will go under there. Some of these states don't have a line item multi-denomination, and so where do they put it? And then you have to read the gaming regulations, because some do one thing and others do another, where they put it in there. But what I'm talking about is a 1 cent machine anywhere. Not I like to be very strict about where the data comes from and what the data says. And a 1 cent machine is what I'm talking about, not a 1 cent machine. That's a multi-denomination. But it wouldn't be much of a stretch to apply it to that as well. Question from Tammy: when you collect a free gift, does it reduce your slots points? I've never been a member of a club where it did reduce it. I mean, it would reduce the slots points if you got a gift that they said would. I mean, it's not a gift if you have to pay for it, and if you're paying for it in points, then it's not a gift. And a complimentary gift, it might be a complimentary offer where you can reduce. Yeah. That in general, I wouldn't say it can't happen. But it is, two different things. These different things that are taking place with players' clubs are getting a little complicated. And they do that deliberately. There's been a couple of, like MGM. I'll go and I'll say, how much money do I have to spend to earn a point in the players club? And they say, oh, that depends if you're if you're staying the night, if you're a new member. We have all these different, it's a floating scale, and it's just all obscured. And then I go to Belterra Park, which is owned by Boyd Gaming, and it says $5 for 1 point. Spend $5 and you'll get 1 point. And usually, if you get 100 points, you get a penny credit. So there's dollars, points, and credits. And it's $5 for 1 point, 100 points for 1 cent. There you go. Easy peasy. That's how it used to be for Caesars. I'm not sure what it is now. There's not one exactly nearby me. Yes, you're welcome to share who I am. I am trying to grow, and collabs and all that are possible if my schedule permits. I don't think it does on Saturdays, because at 9, you're saying from 8 to 9, which would be 11 to 12. Well, at 12 precisely, I have my own live stream, and have had for 2.5 years, or actually I think it's 2 years, because the first 6 months I did it at 2:00 in the afternoon at Eastern time. So it's noon Eastern time, which makes it back to back. It might be possible for me to come in if you have that capability, like I have that capability because of the software that I'm using here, which, if you want to have a conversation about that, we could, how to use YouTube, but to have this associated software to provide the stream in which you can have guests. Like I can do, can I do this? I might be able to do this. Share. Extra camera, share, add to stream, and now there's 2 of me. And this second image could actually be another person in a different state. And so this is something that's offered by the software that I use called StreamYard, one word. And if you are interested in I'll remove that confusing image. You remember those early days, Jojo, when uh, yeah, I made them all available, and it's like my first podcast episode. Please don't go listen to it. It's just like, oh my goodness. And um, I'm getting better. Went through a bunch of changes to make this a better live stream than it was 2 weeks ago. And I do that often. And so a couple of years go by and I'll be fantastic. At least I hope to. So questions. So you do have streaming. It's become very popular. If you want me to drop in, if you want to say, have me come in and say hello, I do have my live stream at noon on Saturdays Eastern time. But I can an hour before that. I'd be happy to stop by if you want me to say hello. Free of charge. And let me know what works for you. Give you a chance to ask a question. Yes, my live streams, in case you're new, are the long-standing one, 2.5 years, 113 live streams as of last Saturday, on Saturdays. And but I started last Thursday, my Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at noon Eastern time, and today is my first Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I'm using times that YouTube says more of my viewers are coming to my channel at these times. So Tuesdays at 7, Thursdays at 3, Saturday at noon. None of these are the peak time, which as it happens is midnight to 2 a.m. But I'm sleeping. Right. Question. The rewards at MGM recently changed. Seems harder to earn points. Yes. If you read my MGM article, I don't think I have a video one on that either. Let me see if I can grab that for you. Should be fairly straightforward. And do I have it up? Nope, it is an older one. If you go to the link on my page called Reviews, Foxwoods, Connecticut. Let's see here. Should have it. Yes, there it is. And I'll put the link in the live chat. Be careful to grab it very soon because we're just about done. And so if you go there, I explain what happened and what I learned. It had been changed. They, just to say it out loud, what did I learn? It's a long article. I made it too long. Yes, there was a corporate decision by MGM Rewards to up their rewards point system from $4 per point to $2 per point. Is that right? No, that's wrong. It was $2 per point, and now it's $4 per point. So you have to spend twice as much to get as many points as you used to. I have to update that. So everything now costs twice as much. And that's great for them, but it's bad for you. It's a real money saver for them, but it's bad for you. I'll double check my wording there. Okay, so it's actually professorslots.com/MGM Grand Detroit and MGM Grand Detroit, professorslots.com. So that's not showing up. So let me share my screen. And so this is professorslots.com. If you go to MGM Grand Detroit, this is the article, and I make some comments about what's happening there and how to win or how not to win, because it's a pretty tight place. But then there's these corporate decisions that were made that I remark on. what you're talking about. Okay, so let me grab that. And you say, so B, do you know if Hollywood Casino in Indiana has the 5-spin method? Are you talking about Lawrenceburg? I think that's the one you're talking about, right? Because, and there's another article. If you go to this again, I will take you back to my main page, which is here. Can you see this? Right here will be reviews. And so I have articles which I have put in the category of reviews. And come on, I guess I'm doing a live stream. And there's a couple of them that count for that. But if you go back to the previous page, somewhere back here, there is Horseshoe. No, you don't want this. Horseshoe Indianapolis, renamed recently from what was it? Indiana Grand. That's the new name for it. That's Hollywood. That's Nashville or Newport. Here you go, Hollywood Lawrenceburg. So if you type in professorslots.com, Hollywood-Lawrenceburg, this is all going to be available to you. And there's a video on YouTube, which you can, of the same name, which you can then go. I cycled my bankroll 3 times. I talk about the return statistics. It's the dark line here in the return statistics. All that article has just my review of it. So yeah, I think the description here should be pretty good for you. That's probably exactly what you're looking for. Okay, my voice is toast, and I am just about ready to say that's it. What a great live stream. You'll see me in my next live stream on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, watch this video right here and learn how to use my location strategy to win at your casino. Bye.